following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
Hey everyone, I'm Christine.
I'm Jada.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. And welcome back to another week.
Welcome. Look at, we both have on black. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Especially since I wear black every day of my life.
All the
Someone
time.
just asked me what I'm wearing to this birthday party on Saturday. And I said, you know, the things that make me look slim, like a black shirt and a black.
But Christine, you look so lovely. Like you look fresh and vibrant. I just love it.
Well, I love to crimp my hair because I like that old-fashioned
wave.
wavy. But I fried my hair really bad the last time I did that, so I'm not allowed to do it anymore, said my hairdresser. And so my hair was wet and I didn't want to dry it the other night, so I French braided it and I woke up
So cute.
with this. And it's
so
glorious.
lovely.
I love it.
Lovely,
I love it.
lovely.
So speaking of the birthday party, I got to tell
Yes.
you, I bought some gifts and I
God.
have to show them. So
Oh God, please help us.
I office manage for Dean. I've talked about him a lot.
Yeah.
He is the interior wall designer that does the special. Can you hear that racket? My neighbors downstairs are rebuilding. And
I hear a little tap.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's
Dean is turning 60, and I'm pretty sure he's not watching the show today. So I got some gifts, and I can't wait to show. Look at this beautiful box. Okay.
I love it. Yes.
Gorgeous. Yeah,
Gorge.
he's turning 60.
What does that say? Old lives. Old lives matter. That's pretty funny.
That's great. And then the best one is this. It says the Wine Savant.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna. I covered what it was.
Okay.
Because he's big gay Dean, and he's
Okay.
He's really, really, really into. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh,
He's
nervous.
really into penises. So I got him a wide decanter.
Oh my gosh. I can't. Do you realize that people that are listening can't see that?
This is a glass wine decanter. The
Yeah.
penis is at least a foot long. And the balls on this, the set of balls on this
Oh
thing
my gosh.
is
I can't.
massive. And then it comes with ball sack glasses. Oh no, butts. These are butts. Do you
Wait,
see
and
that?
how old is he? He's turning 60, you said? Oh my gosh.
He loves penis stuff. So
Christine, welcome to our show, folks.
these are glass butts. And this is when it's sitting on the table, looks so cool.
Actually, I mean like you can't, and maybe it's just because I don't have my contacts in, but
That.
I mean, okay,
It-
now I can see it. Now I can
it-
tell. Like before, I couldn't really tell, but I
That's
can
quite
1000% tell when you do
quite
it.
obviously butt glasses. I am
Nice.
dying. It is.
Well,
it
let's
is
hope he's
the
not
best
watching
thing.
the show or his
No,
surprise.
I'm pretty
is
sure he's not. He's
Mm.
working. I know his schedule. And yeah.
So
I'm
tell me
pretty
about your
stoked.
week. How was your week?
My house manager position, you know, the one where I am personal assistant to Dina.
Yeah.
They are Jewish and they had their oh shit, I just forgot what it was called. Seder.
Seder.
on Monday and Tuesday. So I did that. I handled all of that for them with the staff and the food and the setup and all that for 2 days. I worked 20 hours in 2 days. So I had yesterday off from
Had some
them,
show time.
and then I edited. So yeah,
Okay.
so it's good. This week has been fine. Nothing
Good.
crazy. I really feel a good shift though. On oh my god, they opened. Okay, so for
What
on
we're
4
talking about.
for 420, okay, it
Yeah.
was a big day for full moon and
Yes.
for um manifesting,
Manifesting.
and it was the end of where um Venus and Mars were aligned. And it
Okay.
was supposed to open certain doors for manifesting. And 4 days before, you're supposed to do a road opener spell. So I did a road opener spell right here. And you do it with dandelions and this purple flower, lavender,
Mm-hmm.
dirt, and a key, and an orange candle. So I
Okay.
did it, and if you can see here, the dandelions opened.
They're opened.
They were closed,
Wow.
and they opened. But I did the road opener spell.
Okay.
And I've really felt this incredible shift. And I've decided this is the thing. I whine and cry and blah, blah, blah about my daughters and stuff. And I realized I'm not living my life as a manifester, like I say, if I'm acting as if they're gone. I have to live my life as if they're here, they're in my life, we're happy, we're great, and they're just going to walk through the door any day or call me any day. So
Yeah, I love that. I love
I've changed
it.
the narrative, and
I love it.
here we are. I'm in a happy mood.
Okay. Well, I'll receive that.
I also did a TikTok make me buy it review for this lip oil, and it's turned my lips very, very pink, and I don't like
Well,
it.
there's that
No.
TikTok, which is about to be banned.
Yeah,
So,
it's so stupid. Why ban that when you're sending money to like people who don't? Oh,
Oh,
they
Phil.
opened because you manifest my appearance here. Oh my God, you're
Oh,
right,
we love
Phil.
Phil. We
Speaking
love
of
him.
Phil is coming on the show on May 16th. It's the story of eternal love. And Phil is going to come on the show. He's one of our listeners and friends, and we're going to talk with him. It's going to be awesome.
I love it. I'm excited.
How's your week? You're good?
Oh, my week is good. The world of matchmaking. You know what? I will say it definitely ebbs and flows. But spring is here, summer's around the corner, so it's a little bit busier than normal, which I love. But yeah, it's good. It's good. Nothing crazy. I don't have any crazy stories. Even if I did, I probably would never air them on this show.
I've aired a lot of shit on this show.
You hear a lot, but you hear a lot of stuff outside of the show that I would probably never air on the show. But it's going good.
Jada. Share with the masses.
Some clients listen, and I never want them to say, "Oh, she's talking about me." Like we just had this conversation today.
Yeah. Okay, I get that.
Yeah, I don't do that. But no, it's good. Like business is good. Yeah, I mean, I feel really good. I'm not like stressed or anxious. I'm like excited for what's to come. I do.
Yeah, girlfriend, you're a sex bomb.
But yes, I feel good. I feel good. And I'm excited about our guest today because she is also one of my favorite matchmakers in the community. So
I love it. And I'm going to kill the people below me.
I hear it now. I didn't hear it before.
Yeah, it's very loud. And I'm stomping on the floor to tell them to fucking stop.
Well, maybe that's you that I hear because I didn't hear it before.
It's boom, 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 motherfuckers.
Oh. Okay. Well, we can hear it, hun.
I'm trying not to lose my mind.
Okay,
Hi.
I'm sorry. Hi.
Okay, so let's tell you folks about our guest today. We are very excited about her. Okay, so we have Julie Ferman today. She is a professional matchmaker and dating coach since 1990 with over 1,300 success stories for couples. Julie is truly legendary in the dating industry. Using real life examples and stories galore, Julie spot on, courageous, compassionate advice for men and women who are out there in the dating trenches is always well received. Julie is the host of Cupid's Coach podcast and has produced over 500 singles events. I want to go. Since launching her matchmaking agency in 2002 here in Los Angeles. She is a frequent speaker at the global matchmaking industry conferences. And today she is on 50 Shades of Bullshit, tackling the dating myths and the kind of like busting dating myths with us today. So let's welcome Julie.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys, Christine and Janie. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be on your show.
And we're so happy to have you.
I can't hear any of the banging, so you're good.
Oh, I'm over here banging on the floor, going, "Motherfucker, shut up down there." They always do it when I'm either live on the show or I worked super late and I get to sleep in for a hot minute, and all of a sudden they're like, "Bang, bang, bang!"
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I hate them. They've come up several times because I hate them.
You know, I have this philosophy that people who are dating, we really have the opportunity to use this dash that is between relationships as an opportunity to grow and to learn and to become a better version of who we are. And having a business and having things happen, like, you know, websites crash or banging in the middle of your show. It's just another lovely opportunity to practice flexibility and perseverance and tenacity and all those things that will serve us well in our upcoming relationship. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. I'm going to keep that in mind when I lose it, because they're sawing over here.
My kids tell me, they joke and they say, "You're just Mrs. Positive." But wouldn't it be better to be the queen of possibility, the queen of judgment, criticism, whining, bitching, moaning? I don't want to be the queen of those things.
Yes. Yeah. I'm the queen of a lot of that shit. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually very positive. But Julie, we're excited. So as your matchmaking company, what's the name of that? Is that Julie Ferman?
My name, julieferman.com. And the web and the podcast is under cupidscoach.com. So I'm kind of known as Julie Ferman, the matchmaker, and also Cupid's Coach. And so I've been in Los Angeles since 2001. That's where I built my company. And the bulk of the people in my matchmaking community are in Southern California and also in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is where we have a home. And I started building a community in Santa Fe about 8 years ago. And it's a lovely place to do matchmaking, totally different than Los Angeles, as you might imagine.
So do I have to go there? Damn it. I'm not sure I want to live in New Mexico.
No, you don't. You know, it's funny because of the way the world is shrinking, and Zoom and operating online has gotten more comfortable, even for people who never wanted to do it. They had to learn how to do it. So that means that the world is shrinking, and we have opportunities to make connections with people who are not in each other's neighborhoods. And with the flexibility that people have, I'm seeing more and more introductions that are sticking from people who are not neighbors.
I love it. I love it. So Julie, what got you into matchmaking and then coaching people?
Oh, it's a great question. I actually married the guy who sold me my dating service membership 34 years ago.
Well, check you out.
So I wasn't sure I was going to be able to have kids, and I really, really wanted to have kids. So what I did was I hired myself a dating coach, and I learned about all the things I was doing wrong in dating. It was a long list. He helped me see the errors in my ways. And then after that, I got busy. I started doing all of these creative things to try to meet people. we didn't have the internet back then. So we had personal ads in the newspaper, which was
yes,
ridiculous. And then I finally put together a profile all about myself. I had pictures taken and I ran to Kinko's, which is now not even called Kinko's anymore. And I had a gazillion copies made. And I sent 5 of them out to everybody I knew at the time with a cover letter that said, who do you know who wants to meet this girl? I tried.
Oh my gosh.
Everything. And the one that stuck the best was actually my mother's referral. It was her attorney of all things. But he didn't keep me. He didn't want to keep me. He wasn't in the same place I was in terms of being ready for marriage and family and all that. So I go into this dating service, and the guy who talked me into joining and maxed out my credit cards to the tune of $1,450, that's the guy I later flirted with and asked out on a date. And 5 weeks later, we got engaged, and 5 months later, we got married. And 2 months after that, we got pregnant. So we have 2 boys. They are 30 and 32. And having solved my problem, it's been a natural payback for me to help other people solve this problem, which is finding the right people to date. But then the coaching element has to come in because we can't see our own blind spots, right?
Yeah.
And the advantage of having a coach is the coach can tell us where we can't see if we want to learn and if we want to grow. And those are the people that I work with. If somebody's not growth oriented, and all they want me to do is just match them with the perfect person, I don't have a lot of patience for that, because clearly everything that's not gone well in their love lives at some point, they had something to do with it. And if we're not willing to look, they're just not my people. And I just have to let them keep bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining, but not in my sandbox.
I love how you went straight to the top. You're like, I'm just going to go for the actual matchmaker that's making the money, not spending the money.
Well, what was so funny is they had just opened their doors. This was a company called Great Expectations, which was a video.
Yeah.
So first, the idea was you get hustled into the office and they rope you into spending as much money as they can possibly get on your credit cards. And then you have to get your photos and videos done, which was a whole other separate fee. Oh, and if you wanted to have copies of those videos, well, that was another fee. So I was starting to think, oh man, this thing is just a money machine. But then finally I had access to the library and I could look through the books and I could see who the people were. And I realized, they just opened their doors here in St. Louis. They don't have a lot of people yet. So I picked a couple people and I was kind of interested and excited to meet them. And I knew I was going to have some dates. But I remembered that guy who had that great 3-hour interview with me. It doesn't take 3 hours to sell a dating service membership. So I just knocked on his door and I said, hey, I looked in the G book under Gil and I didn't see you. What's the story with you, pal? And he said, well, I'm not supposed to ask out my members. And I said, I
need my money back and I'm not your member anymore.
No, I never would have done that. And if I had asked for my money back, that would have been the end of our relationship. Instead, I was nice and I just said, what would you do if one of your members asked you out? And he said, well, if she was cute, I'd probably go. I said, come on, let's go have a beer. And literally, he was 44, never married. People said, don't get with a guy who's 44 and never married. What's wrong with him? He was just waiting for me to grow up.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I absolutely love hearing Julie speak. I have been to this New York conference every year, probably for the past 6 years, and listening to her, just her journey and how she is with her clients. I have to tell anybody that's listening, she is literally like the GOAT of matchmaking.
Thank you. I love it.
I really appreciate that, Jada. And I know that one of the reasons is because I know the pain of being somebody who really, really wants to love and be loved and is so frustrated and aggravated that it isn't happening. It hasn't happened. What am I doing wrong? How come I keep having the same challenges over and over again? And seriously, it was that element of growth orientation, the courage that it takes to pick up the phone and call somebody who knows what they're doing and say, would you take me on as your coaching client? Because the way I'm doing it's not working. And I hired this guy. He made me write him a check, even though he was a good friend of mine. I loved his marriage and I wanted a marriage like their marriage. he was my running buddy. So he listened to all of my stories, and he finally said, he's from Colombia, South America. He said, Julie, you need a marketing plan. You need a romance marketing plan. That's what
A romance marketing
romance,
plan.
right? So we had a lot of fun creating my romance marketing plan, which included that whole process of creating the profiles and putting the photos and sending them out. 50 first dates in 2 years. I mean, I was really working it. Personal ads, all of that. And, I think the reason why it didn't happen earlier is that I didn't know what I didn't know. And for me, what I didn't know is I'd been trying to find a guy like my dad. I had daddy issues, and I loved my dad, but he's not the guy I should have been with.
Right.
No, clearly not. So I needed to boil it down and find out what are the qualities that I really, really admire and appreciate. And you know what? It wasn't necessarily the biggest, strongest, most, passionate, charismatic guy in the room. That guy, which described my father, but those guys today, we would call them narcissists. Right?
We do call them narcissists.
I was going to say,
all the time.
I don't know if you guys were there in the room. It was a few years back at the Matchmakers Alliance. No, it was the Global Love Institute, Lisa Clampett's group. There was a keynote speaker who was a therapist talking about personality.
Oh my gosh, the guy who wrote the book.
So you were there, Jada. So
I was there.
What I'll never forget is there was a list of qualities that they put on the screen of what narcissists are. And then the matchmaker put another list on the screen of the qualities that women come to us asking for. It was the same
thing.
List. And how often does it happen in our world as matchmakers where we're talking to a woman who's complaining about her narcissistic ex-husband, and she didn't like this and she didn't like that. And then she's asking us for the guy with the same qualities. He's tall, he's good looking, he's successful, he's powerful, he commands the attention in the room, he's a big, strong guy. I'm like, why don't you just go back to that guy you just divorced? Because that's what you just described. So we have to get really clear about what truly matters as opposed to status. Like, how much do we want to be with the good-looking, popular, successful person? Because other people will say, oh, look who she ended up with. She must be great. And if you end up with George Costanza, they're like, oh, she's settled.
Right. So we have some listeners that come on every week and ask questions and make comments. And this week, Country Corner Gazette is asking, what does it mean when they say daddy issues? Can you tell them what that means, Julie?
Oh, yeah. It's when we haven't healed the relationship that we've had with our father. And what happens sometimes, it certainly happened with me, even the qualities that I didn't appreciate in him, I found myself drawn to men who had those qualities. So to me, that's what daddy issues looked like. And trying to get into the good graces of my father, right? I had to come to terms with how that's really not possible with somebody who drinks too much, somebody who has narcissistic tendencies. You could chase that forever and you're never going to get it. Why? Because he doesn't have that sense of being grounded. People who aren't whole can't fully love other people wholly, right?
Yeah. I'm glad I wanted your professional opinion on what that was, because for me, daddy issues is being attracting men that were abusive to me like mine was. And so what you do is you fall into the pattern of finding men that you were raised by.
It's very familiar. It feels very familiar. I remember when I went to college, I had it with my dad, but also my older brother. When I went to college, very first day, I gravitated toward the drinkers and the pot smokers. Why? Because that's what I did with my brother in high school. Is that who I wanted to be?
No. Exactly.
It was just comfortable, felt like home, smelled like home, you know.
Right, because familiarity is more comforting in a way, even if it's not good for you, because it's just something that you can live with. Plus, does it differ if talking in a kink life? Yeah, because for me, I'm going to see if I can answer that. It is, because abuse is one thing and consensual adult behavior where you're sexually attracted to that is different. And unless you haven't healed from the sexual abuse or the physical abuse and you're gravitating towards men who do that to you and it's not a kink, it's a issue. Is that
beautifully said, Christine? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, from experience. Hello.
So
I only speak on what I know.
What I encourage people to do, men and women both, is it's pretty simple and it solves so many problems. When we create our list of all the qualities, all the characteristics that we would love to see all rolled up in one person, hopefully we know that that's bullshit, that there is nobody who has all of them. But what I ask people to do is get real serious and find out, for you, what are the top 3, maybe 4, not more than 5 key criteria, critical criteria that you would rather be single for the rest of your life than partner with somebody who doesn't have those qualities. And when we put people through that filter, it becomes very clear. We can catch ourselves. If we, like, one of the things for me would be, I want somebody with a healthy lifestyle who takes good care of their mind, body, soul, spirit, everything. Well, somebody who's smoking pot all day long, somebody who's drinking like my father used to drink, well, guess what? They wouldn't make it through the sieve, right? They wouldn't make it through.
Correct.
It's how we catch ourselves. It's really clear
I
about
love
that.
that.
And it usually matters. Can you guess what are the qualities that women find essential? They'd rather be single for the rest of their life than partner with somebody who didn't have A, B, or C. What do you think those qualities are?
I'm going to guess height.
I was just going to say,
even the lady today in my consultation who's 5'11", in the top 3 critical criteria, height wasn't there.
Are we talking about well-rounded women or women who don't know yet?
These are, I seriously, I will only take on a matchmaking client.
Okay. So you've got sane women. I was going to list the things that are all that were bad, that women are like, hey, he needs money and he needs a good job and he needs to have height.
So usually people will come to me with those things, and it's fine if those end up on our bigger list. But when it comes right down to it, it's always trustworthiness, character, integrity, that piece, the honesty, the loyalty piece. When I ask a woman, would you rather be single for the rest of your life than partner with somebody whose word you can't rely on? They'll tell me yes every time. Every time. If she's whole, if she needs a rescue and she's floundering and she needs somebody to save her, she might make compromises because she needs somebody with money or whatever.
Right.
But what are the other ones? Okay, so one of them is the character piece.
Phil says sense of humor.
Humor often will show up in the top 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Humor often will. And humor's funny. Like, what one person finds funny isn't necessarily what somebody else finds funny. But I think what people mean when they say humor is we laugh together. We get each other's jokes. We have fun together. Yeah. That's usually one of them.
Mine's emotionally available.
Yeah. Yeah.
Physically available, but also emotionally available.
There's a little piece I like to add in there, because when you and I know that Jada and Christine and I have all been in personal growth and development rooms. When we look around the room and who's in there, is it more women or men?
Women.
Right.
Women, 100%.
I think that it's unreasonable and unrealistic for us to expect that the man in our life is going to be at the same level that we are. Because
it's impossible.
It's rare. There are guys like that, and yet it's rare. So what I'm looking for usually, and it's the element that my husband has just enough of that we haven't killed each other in 34 years. I call it a threshold of willingness to engage at these levels. So he's not going to say, Julie, I got something I need to talk to you about. Can we sit down and talk about it? Ain't never going to happen. He's going to get quiet. He's going to get grumpy. He's going to be a little hostile. And then I'm going to say, something's on your mind, huh? And he's willing to engage. And I'll say, do you think we can talk about it? Like, not yelling or anything. We can actually like let each other finish our sentences and, can we talk about it? I have to generally initiate it. And I think
that's good to know.
Yeah. We have to find the commonality and the willingness.
I love that. Yeah. So, Julie, I'm sorry, Jada, what were you saying?
No, go ahead. I'm going to ask after you.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you if you can name or list some of the dating myths that we're going to bust today.
Yeah, like one of them we've already touched on, which is that the guy needs to be bigger and stronger than her. Says who? Okay, so women have never earned as much as we have. So if we all have the expectation that the only kind of man who can be good for us is the guy who has more, earns more, whatever, has more net worth, well, there aren't enough of those guys to go around. But there's a bigger problem. The guy who is the strong, powerful, super successful alpha male, who's he coming to us asking for? Is it bitchy boss lady? No, he's not asking for her. The stronger and the bigger the guy's world is, the more he'll ask me for what the guys will call a soft place to land at the end of it. And today's modern day woman, it's not our strength to have to be the soft place to land at the end of the day. We have to cause it. You girls, I know, are good at this. I call it the toggle switch, which is shifting back and forth between our masculine energy, which we need to get things done in the world, and maybe with our children when we need to be firm, but shifting back and forth to the feminine, the receptive, the vulnerable. If we want to be with a strong masculine guy, let's just say it this way. The more masculine and strong we want our guy to be, the more feminine, receptive, adaptable, and flexible we need to be. And if we don't want to be like that, stop pretending that we should be with an alpha guy. Pick a soft, sweet guy who's going to let you take him around by the nose the way my mother-in-law did my father-in-law.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I do too. I was going to ask, Julie, I've had a lot of clients that have come to me and talked about, similar to what you were saying, masculine and feminine energy. And I've had a lot of women say, oh, I just want a protector. Like, I just want, I want him tall because I want him to protect me. I want him to just like cover me. But then I've had some men that I've gotten feedback on dates that they've had with women, and they've said, she had way too much masculine energy. Well, so what are your thoughts on that?
This is beautiful, Jade. I'm glad you asked this, because we say that we want to be with a guy who's bigger and stronger, who will protect us. But then often I will see on female profiles, and I know you will too, independent. Well, okay, a big, strong provider protector wants to protect you, but he can't because you're off on some trip to Africa and the tiger's there and he's not there to protect you, but you insist on being independent. That kind of woman doesn't get to be with a provider protector, right? We have to look at what's a natural match and what's an unnatural match. So it's something I'm loving doing in the boot camp that I have right now. We're doing all these amazing exercises, and I like training men and women together, all ages. And it's amazing because the women will say, well, I need to be independent. We work on our profiles together. And one of those guys will chime in and he'll say, I know you say you want to be with a big, strong provider protector guy, but that's who I am. And I don't want to be with a woman who's the way that you are because you won't allow me to protect you.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I went out with a bunch of friends one time, and there was this young girl. She's probably in her late 20s, and she was so sweet and so pretty. And we all went dancing one night, and there was this really attractive man that was really attracted to her. It was amazing. And I was like, yeah, girl, go for it. And she's like, standing outside with him, he's flirting with her, and all she could say is, I don't need your help. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to buy me a drink. And then she turned around to me and said, I never can find a good guy. I said, there he was. You just chased him away.
You just had him.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I said, stop saying you don't need a man. You can't say you don't need a man and expect to want a man. Is anything wrong with wanting these things? I don't think so.
It's all a matter of finding the contrast and the right fit, because hey, we're not going to get it all right. Like women will say, I want to be with a guy who's emotionally intelligent and he's conscious and he's aware and he's highly communicative. Watch what we ask for, right? He's going to call you on your bullshit every single time.
Yes.
Can you handle it? Right? So a lot of it's just a matter of getting really honest and also getting clear about where our weaknesses are. For a woman to be super strong and super independent, it's not bad, but she's fooling herself if she thinks that she's going to be a good fit for a classic provider protector. He will not be attracted to her energy at all. So she should get over it. She should either learn how to be feminine, receptive, follow a man's lead, or stop pretending and just find a guy who's comfortable with her kind of ball buster energy. I've got that kind of energy. But it's funny. This is my mother-in-law. I talk about her all the time. And you guys who are, you can see who she is. She's a lot like I am. And so my husband could handle my energy. You want to know how she met Mr. Ferman back in the 1940s? They were at the Catskills at this resort, and she had her eye on the guy. And he comes walking into the room the last night before she left. He had a girlfriend on his. She stuck out her foot and she tripped the guy. And he falls flat on his face, and she helps him up. She says, I knew I could get you to fall for me. She's from New York.
I knew you could get me to
fall for you. And then she had this little card, and she stuck it in his pocket. And on the card was her name and her phone number and a message that said, Al, when you get back to the Bronx, darling, you call me. I'll be waiting for that call.
I love it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I love it.
So we just got to know what kind of flavor of woman are we? So Gil just married his mother, because I walked in and I said, what's the story with you, pal? And he's like, that sounds just like what my mother said to my father all those years ago.
That's hilarious. I love it. So tell us what's a couple more myths that we can bust.
One of the myths for sure is that the guy needs to out-earn her in order for her to respect him. That is the biggest bunch of horse shit I have ever heard.
Thank you, Julie.
It's not about that. We need to bring, because your show is called 50 Shades of Bullshit. So I can say bullshit.
You can.
Only on Christine and Jada's show. So the reason why it's a bunch of horse shit, I come from the farm in Missouri where I pick up a lot of horse shit. So you can tell I really love saying the word. I never get to say
I love it. It's great.
It's because we need to bring respect to the men in our worlds.
Absolutely.
We can't wait for them to show us why we should respect them.
Okay.
The secret is not for us to out-earn him. It's for him to feel appreciated, valued, and respected. And if we don't have the ability to do that with a man, I don't care if he's a construction worker working as a laborer, making no money at all, or if he's the CEO of a big monster company, if he doesn't feel respect, admiration, and appreciation, she doesn't get to keep him. It's not about who's earning what.
True story.
Yeah.
When people
I just read a study. Oh, go ahead, Christine.
No. What
I was just going to say, I read a study about in 2024, women. I'm so sorry, guys. I love men to pieces, but women in 2024 have higher degrees. They're higher earners. They're more educated. Everything has kind of shifted. So when I hear people come to me and say they want a man that makes $1 million+ because that's where they're at,
It's an unnatural match.
Absolutely.
It's an unnatural match.
Yeah.
It's so rare that I see a power couple that succeeds. And yet I see it. On my podcast just a few weeks ago, I had Robin Fisher-Roffer, who is a force to be reckoned with, and her husband's even bigger than she is. It's amazing, and it's very rare.
I love that.
That's a myth. It's totally, it does not play in today's society. What's most important about the money stuff, let's all practice earning more than we spend. Let's be responsible, conscientious. Let's be generous with our resources. Who says the guy should always pick up this and that? Women who have a lot of money, where it always gets, I just start rolling my eyes when she starts talking about, well, I really like first class travel and I really like going to the Four Seasons and blah, blah, blah. Well, I've got so many men in my world who are highly successful, have mega dough.
Yep.
A lot of them don't care about that stuff. We women care about that stuff way more than the men do. So I say to the ladies, if you want your first class travel, save your stupid points and don't expect the guy to put you in first class.
There it is.
Go take that trip with your girlfriends and sit in first class and drink champagne and let me know when you're ready to really love somebody, because it doesn't matter if it's in a Sprinter van in the middle of a national park, or if it's in the back of a crappy old bus in Peru and you're on vacation. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, this status and status. Can we just talk about status? Oh my gosh.
Sure.
I would love to.
The reason why a man will want to be with a woman who's younger or particularly attractive is because he walks into the room with her. He gets to be with her. Wow, he must be really special. And his status went up because he walked in with this bombshell. Well, when a woman pulls up to the opera in the guy's car with the Porsche and it's all this and it's all that, everybody thinks, ooh, she must be something special. If she shows up with the guy in the beat up old Chevy who's shorter than she is and he's wearing schlubby loafers from 20 years ago, they'll think she's settled. Right? This is all just status. So we have to boil it down. I mean, maybe it's a good thing to be mature and not to be 24 when we still care what people think. I don't know about you girls, but once I turned 60, you're too young, you haven't gotten there yet. I don't give a rat's ass what people think.
I learned that probably a handful of years ago. I don't give two shits anymore. I care about what my kids think of me.
Yeah.
I do to a point, because they're, kids have a different perspective of what you are as an adult than other people. I just want my kids to love me. That's it. But as far as everybody else goes, I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
It really
But
doesn't
it's
matter.
funny. It's interesting because I have, Christine, as you know, both of my sons are in their 20s. And the conversations I have with them as far as dating and relationships and providing and what that looks like is so different than I feel like probably what I would have. I mean, even what I grew up knowing, it's very, very, very different. So you raised some very valid points there, Julie.
Yeah, I think that we need to look at what providing looks like today. And providing doesn't necessarily mean covering the big bills. How about providing appreciation and respect? How about providing kindness and an ear to listen? That's if we have enough resources, our bills are paid, we don't have a tax lien on our home, we don't have $50,000 in credit card debt, we're actually solvent, which we should all strive to be. What do we need somebody to provide really? And the other thing we need to get good at is knowing what our love languages are. Mr. Ferman, my sweetheart of 34 years, he is so tight, he squeaks, ladies, let me tell you. He is. Every fancy ass hotel we've gone to in 34 years, either his parents paid for it or a company paid for it or his wife paid for it. He's so happy at the Hampton Inn. Personally, I think
I
life
love
is
it.
too short for the Hampton Inn. So if we're on a big road trip, we'll stay in a few of those. But when we get to where we're going and we're in Telluride, we're not at the Travel Lodge. And my husband will never see that bill. He never sees them. I got an incredible dog because my husband is a dog snob. He will never know what it costs for me to have that dog and to train that dog. There's certain things I just cover, and that's all there is to it. Thursday nights, which is today, I will take him out for a fancy dinner after my boot camp office hours thing because it's the end of my major big time crunch in my week. And he looks forward to it. He doesn't
love
have to
that.
pay for it, but he likes it. It means enough to me that I'm happy to pay for it. Can we just get off it about who pays for what? It's the 21st century.
Exactly.
For goodness sake. Right?
What do you
I
think,
get
Julie, about what do you think this myth? There's so many, but in the world of matchmaking, what do you think about love at first sight? Because it sounds like you and your husband almost had that very kismet connection. So what do you think about that?
We had comfort at first sight. I have had love at first sight, which is the exact opposite of the man I married. I know what love at first sight feels like. It is insane. We are not thinking clearly at all. It happened to me twice in my life. Both of these guys were like, one guy reminded me of Al Pacino. I always like the dark guys for some reason. And then the other guy looked like JFK Jr. And I was working in a fancy Ritz-Carlton hotel, and I was in over my head in a job that was too big for me. And I was in this executive meeting, and this guy who looks like JFK Jr. takes his shoe off. He's across the table, and he puts his foot, he like runs his socked foot up my leg as I'm delivering my report. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen me blush, but this face turns crimson. If you see me blush, it's crimson. It's
when we're blonde and white, we turn beet red.
I got sent to the principal's office one time for disrupting the science class because my face turned so red that everybody was laughing. So yeah, love at first sight. It's fun, but don't take it seriously. It's chemical. It is chemistry. And when you run it through your critical criteria list, you will save yourself. Because both of those men would not have made it through my critical criteria list. But hey, if you're at the Club Med and you want to have whoop-de-doo and you've got a condom, go for it.
I have an idea then. That if you're feeling that love at first sight and it doesn't go through your filter properly, okay, then that's lust at first sight.
That's right.
Love at first sight is more rare if they meet those criterias of your attraction and it's firing off all those pistons and they make it through your sieve.
I have 3 men in my life that I have fallen in love with in the course of the last 2 years. And I fell in love with each of them instantly. But the real kind of love, and no, we don't sleep together. These are friends. And I've joked with them, and on each of them, I've asked if I could be on their dance card in our next life, if we so get to have one. It's okay to flirt. It's okay to talk about it. But I am a married woman. I'm not strained from my marriage. I know too much. I don't want to date again. I really don't. But I fell in love with who they are and what they're all about. And they saw me and I saw them and we instantly fell in love. That's real love. It's not just, man, he's hot. I want to jump his bones. Right.
Well, Julie, time flies too fucking fast around here. We've literally got 30 seconds. Mickey is one of our regulars. We love you, Mickey. Thank you for always coming back. Has asked, how do you develop this list? How can you maybe give some pointers really quick about how to get that list going?
Yeah, it's so easy. You whip out a piece of paper, big piece of paper, and you may have already done your list or whatever. Just brainstorm everything that you think matters. And it doesn't matter how stupid it is, straight teeth, yellow hair, blue eyes, whatever. But then you just go through and you say, okay, I got to pick the 3 things that I would rather be single for the rest of my life than partner with somebody who didn't have these qualities. And you will find yourself throwing things like height, hair, how he dresses, all that stuff. It'll fall lower. And then those are things that are either negotiable or you learn to work around it, or it's not that big a deal because you have the things that most matter. It's what Alison Armstrong would call a Cinderella grows up moment.
I love that.
Yeah.
We ran out of time.
I love you girls. It's so much
this
fun.
Is not great. So, Julie, we have some
No,
openings.
this was great, but that we ran out of time was not great. Yeah.
So I have an opening actually, Julie, on we have nobody on May 30th. Can you check that date and let us know if you can come back, and we'll do a continuation of she might have accidentally lost us.
Yeah.
We might have lost her. But what we can do, we'll reach out to Jada. We'll reach out to Julie and do a part 2 because we only got a couple of myths today. So maybe what we can do on the 30th is we'll all come back and we're going to go through more of the dating myths that we can bust.
I love it.
So we didn't get to say goodbye to Julie, but
she's amazing. She's the guru of matchmaking. I've heard her speak a million times at all my conferences, and she's just golden. So I'm happy that we got to see her tonight.
Me too. Well, we will have her back. We're going to see if we can get her back on the 30th.
So sorry, you guys.
Oh, there she is.
I'm checking my calendar and I forgot to do it the proper way.
Well, that's okay. So what we were saying is that you're the shit and we love you and we want you back on the 30th if we can. If we can't, we have some June dates available. We want to have a part 2 for the dating myths and really get into it.
Yeah,
that
day's good. Count me in.
Great. So everybody who's listening, Julie's coming back on May 30th, and we will continue the dating myths part 2 because we only got like to 2 or 3 of them, and we'll really get into it right away on the show. So thank you, Julie, for coming.
Thank you, Julie.
You guys are great. Thanks so much. I'll come back anytime.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us today, as always. And same time, same place next week. And until then, Julie, hang tight. Don't go anywhere. We want to talk to you after the show. And until then, keep this shit real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.